wants to be king!
In my last video, I talked about procrastination and fear and the necessity of engaging with violence of action towards something that was going to push you toward being the man that you want to be, not falling into old patterns that keep you stuck. Mr. Frank Woods asked a question. They asked my opinion about the relationship of procrastination and returning to one's vices, and the relationship between those two things and clinical depression, and also my thoughts on therapy. Well, I think those things are all married to one another. Fear of the unknown causes people to procrastinate, and that procrastination makes men feel like they're wasting their lives, and that is going to inevitably lead you to feel like shit. And if you wish to call that depression, so be it. But what I look at that as is your body, your physiology telling you that you are not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not being who you're supposed to be. And I speak a lot about my time in the penitentiary, and the reason for that is because that was probably the most pivotal, the most transformational time in my life. Rather than joining the military, I got my walk from boyhood to manhood by putting myself in a situation where I was surrounded by criminals, crooks, killers. One of the things that I saw was there were two very distinct types of people who occupied the penitentiary. It was the people who did the time and the people who allowed the time to do them. And the people who allowed the time to do them are the people who broke, who ended up in the pill line every day, the people who ended up getting tampered with, people who were just the weakest of the population. Those people allowed the time to do them, and they fell apart. The people who did their time had a program. They looked at the situation, and they handled that situation like men. They didn't fall into the state of being someone's bitch or curling up in a ball in the corner and feeling sorry for themselves. They looked at their lives and they went on a program that made them better than what they were the day before. I saw a lot of reformed crackheads get their shit together in there by programming and believing in themselves. And some of them, when they got out, they made it. Some of them fostered that belief all the way into success after the penitentiary. That's what life's all about. That's how you handle things that cause other people to depress. And so in that place, I looked at my situation, and I realized that I had become a man that I didn't want to become. I had become a man that I didn't respect. I'd fucked my life up from college to the penitentiary, and it was a real thing. I think one of the biggest reasons why we have such a massive amount of boys, males, identifying themselves as feeling depressed, feeling this sense of despair, is because of the constant attack on masculinity and what it means to be male. You know, if you listen to the weirdos that want you to believe that men can have babies and it's your decision what gender you are, you will believe that a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy and a dog can be a cat. It's all about how you feel. One thing that you cannot be as a male is a man. One thing that you better not exhibit as a male are masculine traits. Those things have been repressed. They have been stamped out of men and boys to the point where if you show these things, then you're considered toxic. The only time that masculine traits are appreciated is when a woman puts on that lion suit and tries to do the things that men do naturally. In that instance, she's brave and strong. I think one of the biggest reasons why so many find themselves lost is because all of the forces in society have told men that they're worthless. We don't need you anymore. They've told boys that everything that comes to them naturally, their natural inclinations, the natural way that they move is wrong. It's bad. It's violence. And because of that, we have a nation of cowards. We have a nation of cowards that bend the knee to social justice warriors who are bullying them into calling them whatever goofy shit they demand you call them. We've got a nation of people allowing bullies to allow men in women's locker rooms, sports teams, competitions. We have a society that's so sick that we're letting these predators go after our children in the name of equity, inclusion, tolerance, and acceptance. So many feel this depression. So many men feel this despair because they're not being who and what men should be. Men, when I was young, all the men were old school. And if the shit that's going on in this culture today, if they tried to pull this off then, if some predator male in a dress thought he was going to go dance in front of us anywhere in public, that wouldn't have made it. Dude, that wouldn't have made it. Because the men in that time, the men in the culture of that time had values. They understood the danger of letting these sick predators around children. And now we got booty bandits teaching school. We got parents taking their children to see these people. And that's not just single moms. There's men involved in this who have let themselves be beaten into submission because not doing that is some sort of bigotry. He's some sort of ism, or he's scared of them. Nobody's scared of any of these people. What males are is scared of being men. And that's why so many of them feel so depressed, because they have repressed everything on the inside of them that is masculine, that is manhood. Frank, you should absolutely get therapy. You should get therapy, but you should also look at your life and listen to the words that you say to yourself. You've attached yourself to this depression in your message to me. You said that it's been with you for so long. You don't know that if it's you or if it's the depression. It's just you. Because the depression's in your brain, it's in your mind, it's what you think. If you sit around all day wallowing in yesterday, carrying this baggage from the past, trying to find your way out of something by digging yourself deeper, you have to see that you have attached yourself to this idea of who you are, what your life is like, what it is. And falling back into old vices is impossible when you have a laser beam focus on what it is that you're trying to attain. Whenever you fall off track when you're trying to do something, all you have to do is dust yourself off and get back in the fight. It's too easy to try to quit smoking and you slip up and smoke one cigarette and then say, fuck it, I might as well smoke again because I'm a loser. You want to smoke. It's the same thing with diet. It's the same thing with discipline. It's the same thing with any single thing that you say you want to do and you start marching towards it. Sometimes, and this is something that you need to identify, sometimes you slip on purpose so you can fall. Because the discipline of staying the course, that requires change. I think there's a very simple answer, a very simple cure for depression in the male population. And it's just to simply reverse engineer your depression. The first step back from there is the repression of your masculinity. It's the repression of what makes you male. If you're weak, get strong. If you're agreeable, start standing up for yourself. If you're a coward, learn how to fight. If you're aimless, find something to put your aim on and send it. If you've got something to say, fucking say it. If you don't, shut your mouth. Stoicism, self-accountability, self-reliance, confidence, assertiveness. These things are good traits. These are masculine traits. And every man should have these things naturally. These things used to be cultivated through our coaches, our uncles, our fathers, the men. That's what's missing. The repression of real masculinity is the direct cause of the depression of the male population. And to fix it, all you got to do, stand up, shed the sheepskin, roar like the lion you were meant to be. Out.